Hi! Happy New Year! Welcome to Whiskey and Wool. My name is Shannon. This is a new year, 2021, and I have a new series for you that I'm calling Knitter's Life. And we're starting with episode 1 today. The idea is that I have gathered more in the moment clips of my crafting and, some everyday sort of pandemic living things. I read all the comments that you all wrote on my last couple recordings, and from what I understand, no one really wants like a whole lifestyle. You're not here for the lifestyle as much as you're here for the knitting or the wool content. So, I have decided to just try a little something besides sort of the way that the footage is going to be broken up. There is also going to be a little bit of one extra sort of segment. That's probably a good way to say it. Like an extra segment that I'm going to put in at the end that you can watch or not. You can end the video early, like I know so many people do anyway. So that will be this time. So I'm going to focus on self-care for a while, just because I think living through this pandemic and spending more time with ourselves, kind of, even if you're not introspective type of person, you benefit from being being introspective when you're spending more time alone, or even like in smaller groups. Like when your circle of friends gets smaller, I think it's really useful to spend some time taking care of yourself and being introspective. So I'm going to focus my first, probably dozen or so episodes on self-care. And specifically, we're going to do skincare. And I'm going to start with skincare. And what I'm planning is very small, very short, 2 to 3 minute clips where I'm just sharing a little bit about either about a product that I really like. Everything is unsponsored, so, it's just my own opinion. And if I've learned it from someone, I'll share that with you. So this time, at the end of this episode 1, I have about a 2-minute clip about a skincare product that I learned from Donatella Versace. I'll explain how I learned it from her, and what it is as well. So that'll be coming up at the end. So stick around for that if you want. So just like usual, I'm going to begin with a little bit of a whiskey chat, which I will be filming later this evening. I am attending a pajama party on Zoom with Christy Glass and Caddy Jacks. I'm so excited. They're like three of my favorite knitting friends, people that I have met and hung out with in life, as well as I know through the YouTube channel and Instagram and all the other, all of the social media outlets. I'm doing that later today. Anyone can go. By the time you watch this, though, it'll probably be over. But it's through the Knit and Escape, which is Christy Glass's one of her businesses, where she had intended to do in-person retreats, but now they're virtual because of the pandemic. So sign up for the newsletter. Go to knitandescape.com and sign up for the newsletter, and you'll get notified anytime that there's a special event that they're doing. They usually are paid for, where you pay to enter events, but it's pretty small, and there's usually a massive benefit besides just the socializing. There's also usually some discount codes given for vendors and stuff like that. So it's worth it. Okay, before I do the whiskey chat, Welcome back, Martha. Martha's been gone quite a while, but she finally has something that she can wear. I'll talk about this in my whip section, and I'll just tell you quickly what I'm wearing. I'm wearing the Stonecrop Cardi by Andrea Mowry. It's an older project that I knit, I think, earlier this year, I want to say, or maybe it was the tail end of early 2020 project, or perhaps it was, I think it was like a spring-ish 2020 project. I love this cardigan so much. It is so comfortable. I steeked it and finished the bands with a ribbon. It is, yeah, I love it. It's one of my favorite throw-on. And I'm wearing a new t-shirt by Stitch Together Studio that says, "Buy me yarn and tell me I'm pretty." Those are basically the instructions on how to, get to me. Yep. Very, very low standards here. All right, on to the whiskey chat. Hi, I'm gonna do a little whiskey chat for you. I am ready for the pajama party. It's like starting in about 20 minutes, so I think I can hop right to it with this whiskey chat. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. This is what we're tasting today is the Balvenie 17-year-old Doublewood. This is the third Balvenie I have tasted on this channel as my whiskey chat. Most recently, 2 episodes back, so episode 88, my regular episode, I did the Caribbean cask, which I really wasn't a fan of. So I figured, well, the Balvenie distillery is fresh in our minds. I would go ahead and do the 17-year that I got in my whiskey advent calendar. I'm actually kind of excited about this because this is supposed to be like the more mature version of the 12-year. That I do like quite a lot, Doublewood. So it's 17-year Doublewood. So what happens with the Doublewood means that it spends some time in 2 different types of casks. So the first 16 and a half years that this is aged, it's aged in American oak casks, ex-bourbon casks, and then it goes into ex-sherry casks, which I think are European sherry casks, because I think most sherries are made in either Spain or France. I think the ones that the whiskey distilleries in Scotland like to draw from are the ones from Spain. What else can I tell you? So just quickly about the Balvenie, since I have spent a lot of time on it in past episodes, they are located in Speyside. They were established by the Grant family, William Grant, in the late 1890s, as I recall. It might be the 1880s, which is, not as old as some of the distilleries, because remember, whiskey distilling became legal in the 1820s. So, so most of the oldest ones are established in the 1828 to 1830 something. But this was a good while later before it was established. It's one of the few distilleries that has their own cooperage, and a cooper makes barrels, so they will repair the barrels, or and also the vats where the mash is fermented and stuff. Those are all made out of wood. Okay, so let's taste. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. Honey, vanilla, caramel, all things that you would expect from all of the time that it spent in the American oak ex-bourbon barrels. So, so no surprises. I'm also expecting a little bit of a woody taste to this because of all the extra time. Ooh. Oh, wow. Oh, so there's interesting. It's kind of grassy up front, like green. There's some green tastes, like green vegetables almost, but not quite that. A little bit sweeter, maybe like a tart apple. But there is, oh my goodness, the wood aftertaste for sure. In the middle, there's definitely a fruit taste. It's almost citrusy, but it's like a soft citrus, maybe like pineapple or something like that. My cat is having a moment, so if you hear a little meowing in the background. Oh, wow. This is really yummy. It's got a really strong, like I think many scotches that have been distilled for a while, or not distilled for a while, it's the aging. Distilling is the same no matter what they taste like. That process, like, it's not the exact same process, but the amount of time more or less is the same. It's the aging that really changes up the flavors, I think. And also, like, yes, the distilling process too. So let's see what the experts say about this. From the Balvenie folks themselves, what they say we should be tasting. Okay, on the nose. Elegant, complex oak, vanilla, honeyed sweetness, and a hint of green apple. Okay, so that's what it was, not green. So like I was thinking maybe like kiwi or something like that, like something green but sweet and tart. And then on the taste, sweet with dried fruits, sherbet spice. I don't know what that is. Toasted almonds, cinnamon, layered with a richness of creamy toffee notes, traces of oak and deep vanilla, and then at the end you get the vanilla, oak, honey, and spicy sweetness. Okay, let's look at another expert site, and they say honey and spiced caramel on the nose, and then fruity tang throughout, apples and pears. That's the green. With dried raisin, more honey and caramel. That becomes vanilla spice oak wood at the end. That becomes more apparent. So, and it has a good long finish, which I 100% agree. I hope you get a chance to taste some of this. Oh, price-wise, this is around $160. It's getting harder to find from what I'm reading. I don't know if that's true in your area or not. The Balvenie is launching a couple other, they have this new line called Stories. So there's some other options. So maybe, liquor stores or stores that sell high quality scotch are having to choose how many they can have on the shelf. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you get a chance to enjoy. Sorry about the cat noise. And I will see you next time. Bye. I finished my baby Portobello. I am actually seeing them tomorrow. I almost waited to film so I could take a picture of her in it, but you'll just have to go onto Instagram and look for the picture. I will post it. I hope this fits her. If it fits her, you'll see a picture. If it doesn't, then there won't be one. But yeah, I've counted the checks and I've made notes on my project page about it, and it should. I can now use this as a spec by building up on the checks, how many checks I do. Yeah, this was sort of a scrappy leftover project that I made out of fingering weight. So I just took the Portobello Hat pattern by TOFT and used fingering weight and went down a couple needle sizes to get to a child size or baby size. So yeah, and this is Liverpool yarn here, a PA, Pennsylvania yarn sheep to skein maker, and the beautiful blue, like that tonal blue yarn is from Little Gray Sheep. It's, I don't even know what color, but it was from a mini skein set that I bought a couple years back, and I actually used some of it. So I was a pretty monogamous knitter this time around. I joined the Hyper Knit Along. I did not intend to knit this shawl so quickly. I signed up for the Hyper Knit Along because it was 2 shawl patterns and a hat pattern for one price. That was really the reason why I signed up for it. I always think, I tend to gravitate towards 1 or 2 shawls, even though I probably have closer to 6 or 7. And I always think to myself, I don't need more shawls. I wear the same ones over and over because I really love them and they're comfortable and they just, freshen up my look and stuff. But yeah, anyway, I spent that week after Christmas looking at my knit yarn advents, and I kind of schemed that one of my 12-day rainbow advents would make a terrific woven chevron shawl, which is one of the patterns from Stephen West for the Hyper Knit Along. So I am almost done. I shouldn't say almost done. I am like almost 80% done. I'm working on, you saw the clips of my progress, but I am working on the section, it's 9 sections. I'm on section 8, at the tail end of section 8. Section 9, I did the math. I figured out it's 20%. Section 9 is 20% of the knitting. So yeah, I still have that 20% ahead of me, but I was pretty monogamous. That's the only way I got this far on this beautiful shawl. It is a slip stitch pattern that Stephen has you do. So you create this like woven effect with your main color. My main color is a yarn that I got from one of my children for Christmas, and it is this fiber company, Valkyrie Fibers. I think I talked about this last time because it's a new acquisition. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. It's the colorway Smeagol, and it's just kind of a really cool, actually warm toned white color with speckles, blue, kind of rainbowish speckles. There's some blue and pink and purple, brown, green speckles in it. Very, very subtle though. It's largely white looking, I would say, or very neutral looking from a distance. Got a little sun patch coming in. So yeah, my section, so this was a 12 skein gradient, and the colors were, let's see if I can show you. Yeah, okay, so there's the 12 colors from here to here. So red, pink, orange, yellow, a couple shades of green, a couple shades of blue, a couple shades of purple, and then ending with this reddish purple at the end, and then it loops back again to that. So yeah, 12 skein mini project. So now you know. I'm pretty sure I have been weighing my mini skeins as I go, and I'm pretty sure I will make it just under the wire with because I'll be repeating this red to bright green section in section 9, and I think I have just enough to make it under the wire, yarn wise. I think it should be okay. If I run short, I have a couple of ideas for what I may do for that. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna run short, but if I run short, I'll show you next time what I come up with, because I'm not quite sure what I'm thinking about doing. And I have a couple ideas, but I'm not sure which one I'm leaning towards. But it's really thrilling to be using brand new yarn and a mini set in this beautiful pattern and in a beautiful way. Yeah, I'm really, really happy with it. I also think, so it's not quite it's not a huge shawl. I would say, I think Stephen says it's a 4 skein shawl, and the way he's written the directions, you would use almost all of those 4 skeins. So, yeah, it's not as big as Slipstravaganza, but I think it's going to be a nice neck covering, and it's going to go with everything because it's rainbows. If you are just tuning in to this episode for the first time and don't know about the Advent that I'm talking about, it is Stitch Together Studio. Left of some of these. So she did a 12 skein gradient, rainbow gradient. She also did a 24 skein gradient, but I bought the 12 because I'm telling you, like, so I have my other work in progress is also a 12 skein Advent calendar project. I really think like that's the right size for me because I still have more than half, a little bit more than half of the mini skeins from Advent 2019. I think 12 is like a manageable amount, so I'm going to be looking for that again. Also, I knitting rainbows is such a delight, so I will definitely keep my eye out for who may be doing a rainbow Advent in the coming year, for the coming Christmas season. Because the Advent, so if you're interested in doing an Advent and you have never done a yarn Advent or a fiber Advent, they are done, like, so they're usually put out for sale anytime now, like from now. This would be kind of early, but mostly they probably pop up in indie dyers, yarn shops around March, April, May, I'd say. Sometimes June. Some people do staggered, so some yarn people do staggered offerings, so they'll offer one amount and then a month later another amount and then a month later another amount, something like that. I know the yarn supply chain has been disrupted by the pandemic. But having said that, I've also read that the wool supply is fine. So because the sheep don't stop growing wool and farmers don't stop shearing sheep because of the pandemic. So that's still happening. The problem is in the mills. So the mills aren't able to process as quickly because they have to keep social distance measures in effect in the workplace. So it's impacted some of the yarn supply. It's disrupted the yarn supply chain. So I don't know what's going to happen with this year's Advent offerings. Like, I don't know how people are going to handle them, how the yarn vendors will handle them. But nevertheless, I'm sure they'll figure it out. They're all really super smart people, and they're mostly women. Yarn dyers are mostly women, as far as I can tell. I know there's one or two. I know of one or two men. No, more than that, a handful. But mostly the vendors that I know are female-run operations. And they're all super smart, and I'm sure they'll figure out how to get us Advent calendars. There was a lot of shipping problems this year. I read a lot about it on social media. I got down a rabbit hole there. Anyway, just wanted to share that with you, my Hyber knit along. It's been fun. Yeah. I'm drowning in shawls, though, I have to say, because after I get this done, I'm going to probably return to working on my my slipstravaganza, and yeah, that's going to take a while. That's part of my knit graveyard that I'm now. It's joined my knit graveyard, my knitting whip graveyard. I will be emptying the graveyard out this year. That is one of my goals for 2021. Let's talk about goals for 2021 for a moment. Like 2020, I have started a list of projects that I want to make. So what I do is I list the project and then I put a box and then I'll check them off as I finish them. So I haven't finished anything yet, but on here I've got some of the things that I've already shown you. I showed in my last episode and things that I've talked about in past episodes too. One new thing that I don't think I've talked about at all, as well as the project that Martha's wearing. Okay, I want to do this pattern here, the Paloma. It is a free pattern from Espace Tricot. It is a pullover turtleneck with a ribbing down the sleeves. So it's just kind of a traditional raglan. They've got like 3 or 4 of these. One is called the Classic. There's another one called Turtle Dove. There's a few that are very similar in that they have this turtleneck, ribbed turtleneck neckline with a stockinette body, and the pattern is written for a what is it? A mohair, a strand of mohair, and a strand of fingering weight yarn to be held together. I'm going to use this to make to use up my Cashmere advent calendar. So these right here. So I caked everything, and along with these, I'm going to add in these new purchases from Clinton Hill. So that sand color, and then this YOLO color, You Only Live Once. This is very neon, not showing up as neon on screen as it is in life. And then I also have this gray from Clinton Hill. So these are all DK weight yarns, and yeah, so my idea is to combine these mini skeins from the Advent with these and make a multicolor Paloma. So I just wanted to quickly, or not, maybe not quickly, but like take you through the steps of what I'm planning to do. I don't have it mapped out in terms of what I'm going to knit when. But I think what I'm going to do is use this as an anchor color, because I know I can get more of this if I end up short yarn. So this will be the color that will be the neck trim and the sleeve cuff trim, so like the ribbing here. And yeah, and then everything else will just be striped in. So I think what I'm going to do is do the neck trim. So this is a top-down knit, so I'll start with the neck trim in this color, and then I'm going to start to go through a progression of color. And I decided to follow what would be sort of like a sunset. So I grouped the colors together. Let's see if I can show you. So that would be with the yellow. I've got the gray. So this will be a contrast color, contrast color. I've got a little grouping that are either purple or blue. There's a little pink grouping. And there's a red grouping, and then there's also this gray, an additional gray. So like basically grouping the colors together so that they each create their own. So that I'm going to put with the pink. It's got some pink speckles in it. But it could really be the sand, and then this is very much in the sand colorway. So what I'm going to do is go in a series that'll be basically start with red and then move to the pinks, and then yellow, then the blues and purples, and then finally the gray. And each time I stripe one of the colors, I'm going to put a sand colored stripe in between as a break, as a color break. So that, yeah, so I'm going to just kind of see what happens. Obviously, I'm not going to get to stripe, too much with each one of these colors because they're quite small. But yeah, well, I'm excited to see. Just so you know too, like, where did I get this idea? I went on Pinterest and I found some images that, I just kind of looked for multicolored stripe patterns, and I looked for, to get some ideas. And then I started to see some patterns of color, and I thought that it would be cool to kind of follow a, I guess it's kind of a Roy G. Biv, like rainbow sequence, but my inspiration was actually more of a sunset sort of pattern. I'll put some pictures on screen of some of the colors, some of the sequences that I was looking at to get inspiration in terms of how to lay the colors out. And clearly, like, I'm not going to be putting these two together with each other, but they are just representative of the yellow family. So I'll just work it out. And same with the pinks and stuff and the reds, because of course I have a solid red, but I also have a speckled red. These are the same two colors. These are this little mini and this big fat one are supposed to be the same. They're similar. I mean, like most indie dyed yarn, there's always a little bit of variation. So anyway, just wanted to share it quickly with you. A future cast on. I am so ready to start it. I just want to finish the woven chevrons shawl before I get going, but I did swatch and everything else for this pattern, so I am ready, and I've got all these caked. So yeah, it'll be my very next cast on. So yeah, so here's the progress on my Paloma. A couple inches, I guess. The needle's a little tighter than the knit itself, so it's a little hard to show you, but you can see there. I have done already a little bit of striping of, so I went from the red speckle to, so I'm doing a red, pink, yellow, blue, purple, gray, and back again. So like looping that repeat over and over, and doing different widths based on how much yardage I have of each color, and then interspersing segments of sand, the main color up here, throughout to just kind of give it a uniform look. Yay, hi. Okay, yeah, so I'll keep you posted on how that goes. Yeah, I'm excited about that. The shawl, I want to finish that shawl, but I really, really, really want to work on the cashmere sweater just because it'll be so cozy right now. And moving on. I guess the theme of today should be Advent because I'm using my Advents up. But here, let me show you what those yarns look like caked. How pretty are they? They would just make the most beautiful sunset, because if you see, like, it would start with this gold and then it's going to go all the way out to the pink, and then it continues, the pink continues here and then moves into these beautiful sort of indigo shades. Now remember, this had another one that went with it, which is this one. So this is actually the trio. What I'm forgetting to tell you is that this was spun from my 12-day fiber advent calendar, which was laid out by the dyer Le Petit Potions to be a gradient, to be a color to fade from one to the other. So what I decided to do was take 4 days worth of color and put them together in one skein. So I had 12 colors, so 4 colors per skein, or 3 skeins worth. So theoretically, these 3 skeins of yarn should connect to each other to make a gradient in the knit cloth as well. I did a 2-ply fractal spin, which I think I'm going to talk about in a few minutes, but that's the way I ended up with this spin. So the color 1, the first skein I made, does not seem to really fit well with the other, as well as with the other 2, but we'll see what happens in the knitting. I just wanted to pop in and tell you that. These are the trio right here. So it's kind of hard to imagine like how this goes into that gold. There is some yellow and orange in there. I think what happened was I ended with pink. So maybe if I had spun this with the yellow, I might have gotten a more blendy effect. So it'd be pretty interesting. I mean, this is a sweater's quantity right here. So I could, let me turn them around. I could do a sweater out of those 3. Could be pretty interesting. I'm gonna think on these. I'm super happy with them. I think they're beautiful. I spun these using a 2-ply fractal method, which you saw some of in the footage that I showed you. So one was, I divided all the fiber in 2 parts, and then each part became a bobbin. One I spun end to end, so they were each spun out of 4 different fiber chunks that were different colors, those colors creating a gradient as you saw in the footage. And I spun one set end to end, and the second set got divided into 2 again, and then went end to end, like in a row, following the same sequence, but 2 repeats of that sequence, where one bobbin was a single repeat of the sequence. I think that's probably a better way to say it. So these are all 2-ply, so they came out to fingering weight. The purple blue or purple pinky skein, this one I spun a little bit heavier unintentionally, so it is a little bit thicker, but not by much. It's still, it'll be okay together with them. So yeah, I'm gonna think on those, figure out what to do. Yeah, it could be really, really gorgeous. Could be a really gorgeous, will be a gorgeous project. Either a shawl, or I'm really shawled out right now, or a pullover. So yeah, that's my spinning. I do have a couple other things in mind to spin, which I'll show you next time. All right, moving on. So I got a new jar for my non-superwash mini skeins, and bibs and bobs, like 50-gram skeins and up of non-superwash bits and pieces, and I love it. It looks so cool. Also in stash acquisitions is this beautiful ceramic container that has this gorgeous bright yellow glaze inside, and I'm keeping in it my my hand balms, which I'm gonna save for another time to talk about, because I do want to talk about hand balms. But anyway, I put all my extra hand balms in there for now, but it's just so beautiful. This is from a potter, a ceramicist in who is a New York City ceramicist. I think she might be in the Bronx, I'm not sure, or Brooklyn, I don't know, somewhere in Manhattan. But her name is Janine, I wanted to say Janine Clay. I'm not actually sure. I'm going to put her name on screen. But I learned about her. She's friends with Alex, I think. I think they're friendly. I don't know how friends for Alex of Alex Creates. I learned about her from Uncommon Goods, the store Uncommon Goods. I always use Uncommon Goods as a place to shop for my sons for, different unique gifts. And while I was perusing Uncommon Goods, I saw a mug based on tarot cards that was from this potter. And they were sold out. I would have bought it from them, but they were sold out. So I looked for her, and I found that she has her own shop, and I was able to get a mug from her. Which I'll show you. This is so this is by the same potter. This is based on the Rider-Waite series. If you're into tarot at all, I collect tarot cards. Sometimes I play with them, sometimes I don't. I mean, I'll go many months where I don't even think about them. They're just fun. They're a fun tool for being introspective, which maybe I'll save for my self-care talk at some point. But yeah, I just really loved the iconography of the High Priestess, and also the mug is beautiful. So it's dirty because I had my morning coffee in it. But yeah, she has a whole bunch of different major arcana cards that you can, if you're interested, you could check them out. Not cheap. Okay. Yeah, handmade and kind of expensive, but I really loved it, so I just went ahead and got it, as well as that little container. I might get another one of those containers, because everyone's unique, of course. Okay, so also stash acquisitions. I saw on Instagram, I was scrolling through hashtags, which I don't do very often, but once in a while I'll just kind of, start looking at hashtags. And I saw this sweater called the Watermelon Sweater, and it was, the knitter said, I'll put a picture on screen. The knitter who posted it said that it was from a book called Bauhaus. And that is this book right here. So I purchased the book because I loved the sweater so much. What I didn't really explain well is that Bauhaus Stricken, however you say that in Swedish, was a company actually run by a woman who, it was established in the 1950s, maybe even the late 40s it may have been established. But she employed low-income women around Sweden to do the knitting, and the business thrived up through the early 60s, and then mass production kind of ran them out of business. But the book is really all about that company, and there are included some patterns here. So I just thought I'd jump on and share that with you. So it is in Swedish and English. So when you, like, for example, I don't think this is giving anything away, but you can see like there's Swedish, and then underneath is the English translation. There is their version of the watermelon sweater right there. There are, I don't know, maybe a dozen patterns or so in here. The watermelon sweater is one of them, and I have plans to make it. I am going to be using actually the little gray sheep skeins that I have, because I have a whole bunch of green. It's a green and pink design, which I think, oh, did I lose it again? Hang on, I'll find it. It's a green and pink design, hence the water. Oh, I absolutely love this design too. I'm gonna have to make this at some point. Isn't that beautiful? So the patterns all date back to the 1950s and 60s. It's a pink and green, like sort of a pink to green Fair Isle pattern. So yeah, so I have a whole bunch of green, as you saw when you saw the clip of my new jar. So I ordered from Little Grey Sheep some pink skeins so that I can have like a little collection of mini skeins, because, you know, I can make more of these too for this little girl for quite a while. So I wanted to just have some on hand so I could just keep making a new one for her as she grows. And so I got those coming, and then I think I'm going to do the yoke using those yarns. And my plan for the body, I find sometimes, like, I don't know if this happens to you, but when I look at images, I think I get this, like, my head explodes in this like creative way. Like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is this great idea. And then when I actually looked a little closer at it, so my great idea my explosion of, oh my gosh, this is a fantastic thought, was that the body of that sweater from the image, I thought it was mohair. And I was like, oh my God, I love that, like that really dense sort of color work, you know, at the top with like little bits of, you know, some of the colors being mohair, then becoming a mohair body. So I'm going to swatch later today this mohair right here to see, like, I think I need to hold 2 strands together to get the density. So I'm gonna see how I like it. I think I'm gonna like it. This is actually this brand, Ito Sensei brand, which is it a Japanese company? I think so. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, it is. Oh no, it says Berlin. It's a German company. Maybe it's a Japanese German company. I don't really know a lot about them. But anyway, I'm going to swatch it, and then if it's on sale right now, so I want to grab it while it's on sale through today and tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and swatch it and see how I like it. I am a little bit anxious that perhaps the whole thing should be mohair if I want to do a mohair body. But I think what I'll do is just swatch a little bit of color work using the Little Grey Sheep, and then I'll start knitting in the mohair and see how I like the transition before I commit. But nevertheless, I'm gonna make that watermelon sweater, and whether or not I use mohair as the body, as was my fantastic idea, or at least it seemed fantastic in my head, or whether I was also thinking I may just want to use a strand of mohair, holding a strand of mohair with a strand of fingering. So I'm going to try a couple different ways of swatching and just see how I like it, and then I'll take it from there. I'll make a decision from there. Okay, so my last stash acquisition is spinning related, and it is this beautiful hank, this hot pink hank of hand-dyed 100% mohair from Shirtsy Designs, Shirtsy Cats Designs. I can't remember where this dyer is located, but anyway, it's 100% mohair. It is a 4-ounce hank, which is a lot of mohair. I thought it would be really fun to try core spinning, so I don't know when I'll try that. It'll be sometime this year, I hope. So I thought it would be fun to work with some hand dyed and try my hand at making my own mohair silk yarn or mohair wool, maybe. I don't know. I have to read up on core spinning and see how it goes. But yeah, I have to add to my stash this beautiful, beautiful hank of mohair. And that's it. That's all of my woolly content. I have my lifestyle, my skincare tip coming up next, as well as a little outro of a beautiful snowy day that we had earlier in the week, and I filmed a little footage of that. So enjoy, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. So, I want to tell you about I've talked to you about my skin being like kind of getting irritated. So also what happens to me sometimes is when I wear makeup on my eye, I get like psoriasis or eczema, something, red flaky patches on my eyelids, and it's horrible. They slightly itch, makes my eyelids swell, and it's horrible. But I learned a beauty secret from Donatella Versace. How? I didn't meet her. Instead, I worked with a man, actually two men, who were her houseboys, I guess is probably the best way to say it. They were like her assistants, and they did, both of them, like they worked, the same job, but, so there's basically like round the clock, or from the time she's awake or even before, like all day long, there's someone. So anyway, these two guys shared with me a beauty tip that Donatella uses. And this is the product, which should be very familiar to everyone. Preparation H. So I have found that this works very well when my eye, like if my under eye or my eyelid are irritated, I'll put this on at night before I go to bed, and it reduces, and sometimes even in the morning, it reduces everything. It reduces the swelling, it reduces the redness, and it is also moisturizing. So it turns out this little cream that is good for your tender bits is good for other places too. So yeah, this is very good. It's an anti-itch. This is the multi-symptom pain relief. Stops the itching, it shrinks the swelling, and promotes healing and all of that. So yeah, it's a really good thing to keep on hand if you have skin issues like me.